What's up, y'all, and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk to you guys about the cameras that I picked up in 2020. I want to make it clear, by no means is this video a flex. This is a flex. It's not a very good one. I just got back into my workout routine. My back is good though, for anyone who's concerned about my sciatica. I finally got that squared away. Take care of your body and protect your back. But I did want to sit down and share with you guys the cameras that I picked up during 2020 so far. So let's do this. Grrr. So I already made a video talking about this camera and when I first purchased the Pentax 6.7. This is the older version, so this is the 6x7 Pentax, so it may be a bit cheaper than the other ones, but honestly, I'm not sure. I haven't really done the deep dive research into it. I'm sure someone will let me know. I did want to talk about how I came across this camera. So I knew I was going to be getting this camera back in February because that's when my friend Scott told me that he was going to be selling off this camera because it was stuck on 220. He didn't want to deal with it. He was tired of, continuing to advance the film after he had shot his 10 frames while shooting 120 film. And he gave me a really great price on just the body. So I knew back in February I would be buying this camera, but I had to save my money to complete this setup. So what happened was, first I paid for the body, and while I saved up for the lens, I used Scott's 75mm. He allowed me to use it in the meantime and to continue to make videos. I've said it before, if you don't have a Scott, what are you doing? The lens that I saved up for was the Pentax Takumar 105mm f2.4 lens. I knew I wanted this lens and I just had to hunker down and save. Purchasing the lens was my step 2 in getting this setup to where I wanted it. Was it step 2? It might have been step 3 now that I think about it, because I got this 3D print of a hand grip. Hand grips were mad expensive. I knew that I didn't want the wooden handle that attached to the left side because I had shot my friend Max's Pentax 6.7 last year, back in 2019. I'll throw this video up. And I found the handle just really uncomfortable. My shoulders aren't as strong as they used to be, as I've sprained them twice. But I bought this next because I knew I was going to need a pretty good grip. There is a wooden one that costs way more money. I think this thing was like $30, probably less. I will look it up and just throw the price up here for the hand grip, but it's a 3D print and I purchased it. I think I imported it from the UK. So very happy that I did that. My final step to getting this camera in full working order was to actually take it in and get it fixed. Recently took this camera into my local repair store, Walter's Camera Repair here in Los Angeles. They went in and they fixed the problem, which was my camera being stuck on 220 mode. So now it's back. Seamlessly goes from 120 settings to 220 settings. So now I don't have to keep on rewinding and rewinding. And I also don't have to keep track of how many frames I've shot while shooting 120, because I'll tell you this, I forgot every single time without fail. It didn't matter. I could start out knowing the number and then just gone. No more counting in my head. Woo! My passion project for this year is what it turned out to be, fully getting this thing together. I have a filter coming in for it and a strap coming in for it too. They should both be here at the end of next week, and I can't wait to complete it fully. Those are accessories. It's ready to go now. The Pentax 6.7. God, it's heavy. So heavy. So the next camera I picked up was the Nikon FE. So I picked up this Nikon FE because I have a lot of Nikon glass, and I have a lot of good Nikon glass, and I definitely wanted to be shooting more with these lenses. Years ago I had a Nikon FG, but I just didn't like it. It just wasn't my camera, so I sold it. And I've been using my Nikon glass with my digital Nikon D200, which is a crop sensor camera, which I have featured on the channel. But I did want to get another film camera so that I could shoot film with the glass that I love so much. So I purchased the Nikon FE. I knew I was going to be getting a Nikon at some point. When I was doing my research for which Nikon body I wanted, it came between the Nikon FM and the Nikon FE. The difference being the Nikon FM was a fully mechanical camera. This one takes a battery, but it has a really great battery life. Like here, as long as this is like pushed, so like right here, this little lever here, as long as this is like pushed in, or the shutter thing is, like, when it's open, the light meter is on, so it's using the battery. But when you close it, the light meter turns off, so you're saving your battery. So the battery for this camera actually lasts a pretty long time. So that's been great. And that was the biggest thing. It's just like, one's fully mechanical, one required a battery. And I'm happy that I went for this one because it's cheaper. This one's cheaper. For me, it was really all about utilizing the glass, and it's beautiful. Like, come on, yo. This camera is gorgeous. It has a nice weight to it. It feels, you know, it's, damn. It's good. It's a sturdy camera. You definitely feel like it has some weight on it, like it's in you. You're here with it, you know. After lugging around the Pentax 6-7, I'm happy to carry this camera now. Weight has become relative at this point. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and you guys saw when I purchased, I think I bought this camera in how to buy film cameras, and I also showed you guys how to buy lenses, which is the 85mm lens here. If you want to see how I bought this camera, there's a video. I'll put it here. I'll put it up here somewhere. Yeah, really love using this camera so far. Feels great in my hand. I have lots of glass to pair with it, and I'm a happy camper. It's a good investment. And this lens, it's gorgeous. Look at this lens, yo. Man, she bad. Woo. Next up, we have the Yashica A. So this is kind of a funny story. I had no intentions originally of buying this camera, but someone commented on one of my older videos asking how they could get into medium format camera without breaking the bank. And I was like, Yashica produced a lot of TLR cameras, and a lot of them, which aren't the Yashica 124 Mat G, are reasonably priced. So I suggested they look into Yashica and getting a twin lens 6x6 film camera, because that was the cheapest thing that I could think of outside of getting that Holga camera, because I'm not gonna really say go get a Holga, just no. So what ended up happening was I was already on my phone responding to the person, and then I just happened to jump over to eBay, as one does, and just take a look around, just looking around to see what kind of prices this person can expect, so I can give them a realistic expectation of a price range. And I happened to see that the Yashica A's were mad cheap, yo, around $75 to $90 for Yashica A's that were in good condition. And I was like, that's a really good deal, honestly. And you get 12 frames with this camera. So the more I thought about it, you know, I went and I read some reviews on the Yashica A, and I looked at photos produced by the Yashica A, and I sold myself on this doggone camera is what happened. So I ended up buying this camera because I had done all this research to tell someone else about cheap medium format cameras that they could use. So yeah, I sold myself on it too, and I'm glad I did. So far, I've been taking it around my neighborhood a lot, on my walks, on my photo walks, while I document my neighborhood, and it's been great. It produces beautiful images. It's like, it's pretty lightweight. It's not heavy or cumbersome. It's a great conversation starter. People will come up and talk to me while I'm using this camera or while I'm walking around with it, and you know, a lot of people just will point at me like, hey, I'm like, I know, right? They recognize it or think it's cool. So it's been a great addition to the squad, and I'm happy that I have it. And it's easy to use. I get 12 frames, and I enjoy it. I did my first portrait shoot on it a couple weeks ago. That will be dropping on the channel soon. If you want to see this camera in action on the street during my walks, I will link my series on the streets here or here, so you can take a look and check out some of the images that I've made while utilizing this camera so far. This camera is really great because it's fully mechanical, you know? You don't need a battery for it. And it's very manual too. I forget sometimes that you have to actually advance the film here after each shot you take, because if you don't, you're going to be making some accidental double exposures, which I've made one so far. For me, that's pretty good, because when I had that RB67, I was making double exposures all the time. As long as I remember to advance my film, it's really good. The leaf shutter on this camera is so quiet. So you want to cock it, so it's ready to fire now. Isn't that the best sounding shutter you've ever heard? It's so quiet, so quiet. I've taken so many shots with this camera with people really close to me, and you know, I'm looking down, so they're like looking at me anyway, because they're like, what is she looking at? And then I take the photo, and they can't hear it, man. It's fantastic. You're getting these candid images. Love this camera. If you are just looking to get into medium format and you don't want to spend a lot of money, look at Yashica. They have a number of different versions of this camera. They have Yashica D, EM, E, all the letters of the alphabet. Just take a look on eBay and see what's popping, basically. Can't recommend this camera enough. Really enjoying it. I'll probably do a more thorough review later on after I have had some more months under my belt utilizing it. All right, y'all. That was the Yashica A. Next up, I have the Canon KNql17 G3. Yeah, I've gotten good at saying that. It's a mouthful, but the more you practice, the more it just rolls off the tongue. Like, brah, brah. Yeah. Someone asked me about rangefinder cameras in one of my previous videos, and they wanted to get a camera that was within their price range. I think they didn't want to spend more than like $500, and they wanted a pretty good rangefinder camera for under $500. And I was like, yo, check out that Canon KNql17, because when I first started doing street photography and getting more into film photography, one of my mentors was like, yo, you need to get this camera. And at the time, I was like, I ain't got it money-wise. But as I do before I recommend anything to people, I did a little research on this camera. So I hopped on to eBay, as I do, just to do a little perusing, a little window shopping. And I saw there were a number of these cameras going for relatively decent prices, just over 200 bucks. You can find some around 150, but they typically have something wrong with them. Either they don't look great aesthetically, or the light meter doesn't work. There's a catch. So you always have to read the descriptions, as you guys know, because you've watched my video on buying cameras on eBay. This camera had only had one owner prior to them selling it, and it had been tucked away in storage because the person didn't have a need for it and he was ready to sell it. So I jumped at the opportunity, and they were local. They lived in California, so I didn't have to wait long to get the camera. And I have to say, I'm very happy with this camera. I love shooting it. It's so handsome. Isn't it? Isn't it handsome? Like, you see this camera and it's a looker. It forces you to pay attention to it. Whenever I'm out walking around with this camera too, people will be like, yo, what is that? Is that film? Is that digital? I'm like, oh, this is film. And then, you know, they'll come up, they'll talk to me. And a lot of times people are like, I used to have this camera. I'm like, word. And so it'd be like a conversation starter. When you walk up to people holding an interesting or vintage camera, they typically want to talk to you. Or they just want to talk to me because, you know, I'm personable. A lot of times when I'm on the street walking around, I just put it in a shutter priority. It's just the quickest way to kind of go about doing things. If I come across a scene that has mixed lighting, then I'll just switch it over to manual settings and just meter it myself, because I typically always walk around with an external light meter anyway. And it's been super easy to use, super fun to use. I've often heard this camera referred to as the cheap man's Leica. I'm sure the Leica is better than this camera, but I figured we all got to start somewhere. And as I work my way to my Leica, I'm happy to use this camera in the meantime. I feel like this is one of those cameras that you don't let go of. It feels amazing in the hand. It's a quick load system too. You pretty much just put the film in the back, close it, and then you're winding, and I love it. I'll more than likely do a proper review of this camera as well once I've had it for a number of months, so I can really talk about the different circumstances in which I have used it and get perspective from someone who's actually handled the camera multiple times and not just like a first time experience kind of review. Because although those can be kind of fun sometimes, I like to be able to give more insights to people so that it's more helpful when they're looking to buy it for themselves. You can't not appreciate this mug. Come on. All right, so the last camera that I'm going to tell you guys I purchased in 2020 is the camera I'm actually recording this video on. I purchased the Canon EOS RP back in July, I think, and I've only used this camera so far to make videos. I knew heading into this year that I wanted to improve the video quality here on my channel, and I would need a camera to do that. So whereas my phone has been fantastic up until now, I definitely see the improvement as far as video quality goes utilizing this camera. It's considered an entry-level mirrorless digital camera, and honestly, I'm really enjoying using it. I still have a lot to learn about it, but I feel like every time I pick it up, I'm getting a little bit better. And that's all I can hope for. I have yet to do a photography shoot with this camera, but I'm hoping to get one in before the year ends so that I can show you guys how this camera performs for photos as well. Essentially bought this camera because it was on sale. It was a crazy sale going on for it back in July, and it came with a kit lens as well. Kit lens that I use with it is a 24 to 105 millimeter lens. I checked a couple days ago during the prime sale that was going on, and this camera, the price has not dropped. If anything, it's gone up. So I got this camera at the right time, and I plan on utilizing it until the wheels fall off. What? So yeah, those are all of the cameras that I have acquired in 2020. 5 cameras. If you have any questions about any of these cameras that I've talked about and shown you, please feel free to ask down in the comments below. I'm one of those people that doesn't like to have too much stuff if I can avoid it. So more than likely, I'm going to be selling off and getting rid of cameras that I don't utilize as much in my collection. Probably do another video towards the end of the year where I do the full camera collection that I have in order to post the cameras I'm going to be getting rid of on the website that I'm working on, because it's just, I feel like it'll be easy if I just start selling cameras that I buy and clean up and then resell on my own websites, because cameras should be used, okay? Cameras should be used. They should not just be sitting around your apartment or in your house looking pretty, okay? They have functions. They are functional, and to not use them hurts my feelings for them. So I never want to be holding on to cameras that I'm not using when I know that someone else out there would be utilizing a camera. So once I have my website up and running, I will let you guys know. I will share that video with you and let you know that you can go to it and purchase the cameras directly from me, because you guys already know that I'm not selling you crap. One more thing. If you guys have topics that you'd like me to touch on, or questions that you'd like me to answer or make a video about, please comment that down in the description below as well, because it helps me out with this channel. It helps me to know what you guys want to see, and I definitely want to be making content that you guys are interested in. So comment down below if you want me to talk about something in particular, or talk more about a camera in particular, whatever. LA, if you're interested in what's happening out here, can't imagine you would be. It's been weird times. All right, y'all, if you like this video, please go ahead and give this video a like. It helps me out so much here on YouTube. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, because I would love to have you. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace. Proper. My Amazon package just got here. My back is on fire. Let me put this damn thing down.